Good morning, everyone. It's 4:30. I'm Emily Leonard.
And I'm Brett Thomas, taking a step outside to let you know what you're going to step on as soon as you step out the door. Daybreak starts right now.
Live from the 24-hour tracking center, this is a winter weather alert.
You are going to want to give yourself plenty of extra time out on the roads this morning. We've been talking to police agencies across West Michigan, and they're all telling us the same thing. It is slick out there, and it is very slick. And this behind me is why. It's freezing rain and ice have been falling throughout the night in some areas, and it's not going to stop. We have team coverage for you before you head out the door. Amanda Jarrett is live in Grand Rapids showing you what the roads are going to look like. And we're starting things off with Matt Kirkwood. So Matt, it's going to be a bad morning to be on the roads, isn't it?
It is. I tell you what, very simply, if you're around or north of I-94, and if the road hasn't been treated, the sidewalk or parking lot hasn't been treated, it is extremely slippery out there. I was coming off of 196 right in the middle of town, and off-ramp on the College Avenue. I almost slid right through the intersection. And very slippery out there. Let's take a look at the radar. Here's what's going on. The radar really shows you a lot. The moisture feed is coming up from the south and west. It hits a layer of below freezing temperatures and it turns pink. That's essentially when we stop the radar. This is where we're having the issues right now. Anywhere just south of I-96 and points to the north, this is where we have the problems out there. It's mostly rain towards Kalamazoo and I-94. The latest, well, look at these temperatures. You can see where we have readings right around 32 degrees and below to the north. This is where the freezing rain is going to be. Fortunately, off to the south, Kalamazoo Battle Creek, you're avoiding that. But we do have fog advisories off to the south. One thing to note, actually two things to note. The winter weather advisory, Allegan, Berry, Eaton counties now are included, and they've extended it to 7 o'clock this evening. Yesterday it looked like it'd be mostly a morning event. But guess what? It's not. It's going to be all day long. We'll have to deal with this freezing rain. Visibility's down, especially near I-94 to a quarter of a mile. Here's the bus stop forecast, and obviously incredibly slippery out there. Anywhere there's been some freezing rain and it's untreated. And again, we'll continue with this right on through the remainder of the day. And this is only storm number 1. Number 2, I'll have more on that coming up a little bit later.
Well, this is going to be one of those days that you might want to take a little extra time before you even step out the door to look out your window. If it's shiny on this pavement in front of you, you're going to want to take it easy as you step outside, because you might end up on a place called the Derriere, and we don't want to have that happen here. Just a quick note to you right now. Police have even shut down Fruit Ridge and 10 Mile because that area is so slick right now. They have trucks headed out there hoping to kind of clear and treat the pavement so that area doesn't continue to be a really dangerous position for you. This is an idea of what you're going to see when you do step out, though. Right here, we've treated this part of the cement with salt. Not easy to move my foot on it. Over here, not so much. It's like I'm an ice skater here in West Michigan right now. My photographer even set down some tape here so I could safely navigate to this position out in front of the building here. It's not going to be a good day if you are headed out today. You're going to want to take your time. And as this mix of snow, ice, and snow continues this morning, we want to check in on how traffic is moving in West Michigan. 24-hour news sites. Amanda Jarrett is live in Grand Rapids with more on that. Amanda.
Good morning, Brad. As you said, very slick out here. You're going to want to take a lot of extra time this morning. I want to show you a live look at the roads here. Highways not moving too bad this morning. Right now, of course, keep in mind we have a low traffic volume, and this is where a lot of the salt trucks are concentrating their efforts this morning because it's so slick. Obviously, they want to concentrate on these roads with higher speeds, higher traffic volumes. So right now, these cars out here at 4:30 in the morning, braving it pretty good. But I want to show you this sheen here on the railing. This is what you're going to be driving on this morning on the side streets, and that's the concern. We talked to Grand Rapids police this morning, so they're working several crashes due to icy roads on these side streets, and I want to show you exactly what we're talking about. We were driving from College to Michigan on Prospect. Our live truck could barely even get up the road. We were inching, sliding around, moving very slowly, and you can see just a thick layer of ice on this pavement, and I'm not even going to walk on it because I don't want to fall on live TV. But if you're leaving your house this morning, take your time. Those steps, driveways, side streets are what's going to get you this morning. Now again, Grand Rapids police working several crashes on these side streets. We even saw a trash truck stuck on this morning. This is going to be a very tricky morning for you this morning. Take your time. We're going to be checking with dispatchers all Break as these conditions continue to change. Live in Grand Rapids, Amanda Jarrett, 24-Hour News 8.
Thank you, Amanda. Storm Team 8 will continue to track everything out there throughout the morning, and make sure to stay connected with Wood TV 8 all weekend. You can download our mobile app to take with you on the go.
Live from the 24-hour tracking center, this is a winter weather alert.
Well, here we go. We are tracking what's going to be a slick commute for you, not just this morning, but throughout the entire day.
Freezing rain and ice are hitting several parts of West Michigan this morning.
We've been talking with police all morning long to let you know what you're going to face as you head out. We'll take you live out on the roads in just a moment here, but first, we got to check in with Storm Team 8 meteorologist Matt Kirkwood, who said this is how it was going to happen. That's exactly the way it went, huh, Matt?
Yeah, unfortunately, Storm Team 8, we were thinking that we'd get some freezing rain today, and that's going to be the case, or has been the case, for much of the night, leading to the very slippery conditions out there this morning. Not everybody is seeing the freezing rain. Now, if you're around Kalamazoo, Battle Creek, basically you're all right, and you're going to stay that way throughout the rest of the day. It's areas around Allegan over to Hastings, the Wayland area to the north. Well, that's where the freezing rain is, and you can see it on the radar. Wherever you see the magenta shaded areas, I'm going to stop the radar here and we'll zoom in where the most slippery areas are currently and where the freezing rain is occurring. You see that Holland right down to around Allegan, just north of Allegan, up towards just south of Byrne Center, the Wayland area, and around Hastings North. This is the problem area, and this will continue all day long, not just the morning hours. You can see the temperatures also hovering around that critical freezing mark, anywhere from about Holland right in through here. We're looking at just south of the Grand Rapids area with those freezing temperatures. And I really, with a northeast wind all day long over the snowpack, I don't think these temperatures are going to warm up much. Fortunately, down near I-94, they are above freezing, so it's just going to be rain there. The National Weather Service has shifted the advisory south, now includes Allegan, Berry, Eaton counties, and has also extended it until 9 o'clock, or actually 7 o'clock this evening. And this is what the day planner looks like. This wintry mix will continue all day long with temperatures right around the freezing mark. Again, this is along I-96 and to the north, right around I-94. You're looking all right. That is for now. Another storm system takes aim in the Great Lakes for this weekend, and that promises more of a messy mix. More on that coming up.
Let's send things over to Kevin Richards to see what he's seeing out there on the roads. Hey, Kev.
A lot of slipping and sliding, a lot of shiny pavement. This is a scary kind of morning. This is the thing that new drivers are going to have nightmares about for years. There are places where it's just a solid sheet of wet, sloppy grease ice. It's not like a skating rink. It's like a greased chute. You just can't control anything. Now, the freeways in town have lots of salt and melter chemicals and lots of traffic, the most traffic of any of the roads around West Michigan. So right downtown, 131 at Hall Street, for instance, a little bit slow. Now, the ramps and overpasses in town, different story. Get to the end of that ramp, you can slide right into that intersection. And the side streets and back roads are not going to see the salt trucks for several hours, and that's where the really dangerous stuff is, and that's why all the school districts are dropping. Freeway problems, we're getting reports of lots of cars that just went sliding around into the ditch on the eastbound 96 between 48th Avenue, Lamont, exit 19, and the Marne interchange. And Ottawa deputy has to go carefully one by one to make sure everybody's okay. Give yourself lots of extra time. And if your school's closed, well, just stay home. For 24-Hour News 8, Kevin Richards, News Radio, Wood 1300 and 106.9 FM.
Thank you, Kevin. Let's take another look at the roads this morning from a different angle with 24-Hour News 8's Amanda Jarrett. She's live in Grand Rapids. Amanda, what are the highways and side roads looking like from your angle?
Well, good morning, Emily. You heard what Kevin was just talking about, and I want to show you a live look here. These main roads, highways, moving pretty smoothly here downtown, and as Kevin mentioned, that's because the high traffic volume. These are where the salt trucks are really concentrating their efforts this morning. So you can see pretty good speeds moving there, but if you look at this railing here, see this sheen on it? That's what you're going to be driving on some of these side roads this morning. Pretty concerning. I want to show you just over here. We even had issues driving with our live truck this morning, just slipping, sliding. It's hard to get anywhere this morning. If you don't have to drive, don't. A lot of schools are closed. If you don't have to go anywhere this morning, stay at home, because here's what you're going to see. A thick sheen on this pavement. And these side roads are a mess. We just talked with Grand Rapids Police. They're working several crashes. We know Kent County is busy with slide-offs all over this morning, and that's because a lot of these roads aren't getting touched by the salt trucks because of the lower traffic volume. But it's going to be hard to get out of your driveway. It's going to be hard to get down your sidewalk. A lot of shuffling this morning for you. So make sure to give yourself lots of extra time. And again, if you don't have to go anywhere this morning, just stay at home. Live in Grand Rapids, Amanda Jarrett, 24-Hour News 8.
Storm Team 8 will continue to track the weather changes today. Be sure to stay connected with Wood TV 8 all weekend. You can download our mobile app to take with you on the go.
Live from the 24-hour tracking center, this is a winter weather alert.
You are going to want to give yourself plenty of time out on the roads this morning if you even go out at all. We've been talking to police agencies across West Michigan, and they're telling us the same thing. It's very slick out there. And this behind me is why. Freezing rain and ice have been falling throughout parts of West Michigan, and it's not going to stop. We have team coverage for you before you head out the door this morning. Amanda Jarrett's live in Grand Rapids showing you what the roads are going to look like. But we're starting things off with Matt Kirkwood. So Matt, it's going to be a bad morning to be on the roads. Really, we're advising against it if you can stay in.
Yeah, if there's salt on the ground, you're fine. Where there's not salt on the ground, you're not fine. You're going to be sliding and slipping. You saw me just looking down a moment ago. I just heard the tone alert going off, and the National Weather Service has just extended the winter weather advisory further to the north as well. And earlier this morning, they extended it farther to the south. Also extended the time frame. Let's take a look at why. Right now on Storm Track Live radar, you can see a fair amount of moisture across area. Precipitation. I say precipitation because we have it at different forms. Just depends where you're at. Mostly snow if you're up and around US 10, but even up around US 10 and M55, they're getting reports of freezing rain. We're certainly getting that in and around the Grand Rapids area. And the darker the color, the deeper shade of the color, the heavier amounts of rain you're getting, or freezing rain. You can see this is deep shaded magenta. That's coming down at a good clip, and that is freezing rain, folks. But as you head to the south, it's mostly just rain. Kalamazoo, South Haven, over towards the Battle Creek. But here's a dividing line right around the Hastings area, Allegan, up towards Wayland and points to the north. All day long, we're going to have to contend with this freezing rain. Because of that, we have advisories out there until 7 o'clock tonight, basically from Allegan, Berry counties and also Eaton counties to the north. You can see where that freezing line is, just north of I-94, and this is where the problems are going to be throughout the day. Here's a quick look at the day planner featuring temperatures not budging much, and that's why I think we're going to continue with the precipitation and the freezing rain all day long. So if you don't have to head out, I recommend you staying put. This is only one of two storm systems. I'll have more on the secondary one coming up soon.
Thank you, Matt. Well, it's just going to be one of those days, isn't it? Everybody that's going to be on the roads today will probably be driving at the speed of turtle. So if you do head anywhere, you're going to want to take your time, and also keep in mind that everybody else is going to be going pretty slow too here. The reason why, well, we've been talking about it here. Storm Team 8 predicted it. It came through just as expected here. This freezing rain that's been coming down across the region here, it's making for a real mess outside. This is what I'm looking at. We treated the sidewalk here. It's not too bad, but the spots that aren't treated, there's a light glaze of ice, and that is what's going to cause all the problems today. Can't get any traction here. We watched a number of people drive by here very slowly, slipping and sliding along College Avenue, where we're located here at 120 College Southeast in Grand Rapids. We sent Amanda Jarrett out on the roads to check on what the situation is like for that. She joins us now live in the Grand Rapids area. Amanda?
Good morning, Brett. Well, I can tell you we've been out here since about 4 o'clock this morning. It's definitely gotten worse out here. We just talked with dispatchers in Kent, Berry, Allegan, Ionia, Montcalm, Newaygo counties. They're all seeing a lot of slide-offs this morning, very icy on the roads, especially those side roads. But first, I want to give you a live look here. Highway downtown moving pretty good this morning, and here's why. The salt trucks are concentrating all their work here on the interstates and highways because that's the area that's going to see high traffic volume this morning, and of course those higher speeds. So those areas are getting salted. But side roads, they're going to kind of like this railing. You can see just this thin coat of icing on this. And I want to show you this side road over here. Now keep in mind, we were driving our live truck from College to Michigan, very short distance there on Prospect this morning. We could barely get up the road, really just inching, sliding, slipping. We even saw a trash truck stuck there trying to salt around their wheels, and this is why we've seen this ice really build up on the road with the rain continuing through daybreak. This is a lot worse, very slick. In fact, just a short walk between here and our live truck across the street is a slow shuffle. So that's what you're going to see in your driveways, your sidewalks, and of course these side streets. So keep that in mind. If you don't need to drive this morning, stay at home. Live in Grand Rapids, Amanda Jarrett, 24-Hour News 8.
It's 6:05 right now. We want to check in now with News Radio Wood 1300's Kevin Richards. Kevin?
Oh, it is scary out there where the ice is. We talked to a driver south of Hastings. Another driver said south of Plainwell. Just a murky, wet morning on the main roads. The back roads around Kalamazoo, Battle Creek, of course, have that slush and ice, so you have to deal with that. But you get north of that freeze line, and it is a horror show. This is the stuff that nightmares are made of. It's wet, sloppy, solid ice, and you have absolutely no control if you end up on a patch of it. Now, the freeways, lots of salt. Those salt trucks are out there pouring it out as fast as they can, but they're not going to get everywhere. There are side streets and back roads that won't be touched until way after daylight, maybe later this afternoon. On the freeways, the through lanes seem to be okay in town, but outside downtown, we have lots of reports of slide-offs and ditchings. The ramps in town are going to be a little bit tricky, too, for several hours. You just want to take it very slowly and very carefully. Between Coopersville and Marne, eastbound 96, a really bad stretch, left lane blocked, car in the median cables, and 3 other cars in the snow between 48th Avenue and 16th Avenue. And lots of reports of cars sliding around, a couple of cars on their sides, one jammed into the snow just a couple minutes ago and blocked a lane. For 24-hour News 8, Kevin Richards, News Radio, Wood 1300 and 106.9 FM.
Storm Team 8 will continue to track everything out there throughout the morning, and make sure to stay connected with Wood TV 8 all weekend. You can download our mobile app to take with you on the go. Welcome back at 6:20 now, and we're watching school closings pile up across West Michigan this morning. The reason behind it, there is ice coating quite a bit of the area.
Yeah, about 300 school closings so far. And that has crews out working overtime to get the roads ready for you to drive on them. And we want to check in with Jerry Byrne right now. He's with the Kent County Road Commission. So, Jerry, tell us about the situation that you're seeing on the roads here.
Well, what I've seen this morning, Brett and Emily, are the main roads, the freeway systems, and state trunk lines were treated throughout the night and are really in pretty good shape. The motor should expect some scattered slippery spots, but I think the message needs to be clear that even after we treat them, they're going to refreeze with this rain that continues to come down. Pavement temperatures are a couple degrees colder than the air temperature, so while it's still maybe 32 degrees or 33, the pavement is 30 to 31, so it's going to refreeze continuously throughout the day.
What's your answer to that then? Is it just essentially you just keep putting down more salt, and what's the rotation there as far as that's concerned? Do you do it every hour, every half hour, 2 or 3 hours? How's that work?
Well, it depends on how hard it rains, Brett. Usually it's going to last for a couple hours. If it rains really hard, it's going to dilute quicker. So it's going to be a matter of like a continuing snow event. Those trucks are going to have to continually monitor those main roads and make sure they don't refreeze. But depending on the rain, that salt sand application should last a couple hours.
A couple of hours, but we're talking about several hours because Matt says this is going to continue until 7 o'clock tonight. So the key to remember here, watch as you go out, and you guys are hitting those main roads really hard.
We are. We were throughout the night. The day crew came in at 4 a.m. The other thing that the crews have to do that are going on the rural roads is they put a skid chain on the tire to gain traction, because we also have a problem on those icy roads. So our top speeds on these trucks that put chains on their tires are going to be about 20, 25 mile an hour. So that's going to slow the process down too.
Yeah. When will you get into some of those more rural roads? When will you hit some of those side streets in those areas? Or are you going to spend most of the morning hours working on the main roads?
For sure this morning we will be on the main roads. We need to get the rush hour traffic through, and then it really just depends on how long it continues to rain. Some of those side streets and the rural gravel roads may not see service until late tonight or tomorrow if this rain continues till 7 o'clock.
And that'll be just in time for the next round of this stuff to come through, Jerry.
Well, and actually the snow could help us, because if it snows on top, that does provide some traction on that. The snow might not be a bad thing right now.
All right. Hey, we appreciate your time. We'll let you get back at it. Thank you so much, and good luck, and stay safe out there, Jerry.
All right, thank you.
Jerry Byrne from the Kent County Road Commission, always taking a couple minutes to join us on mornings like this. We thank him for that because we know it's busy.
Oh, yeah, you know it. And these guys have spent more time this season on the roads, I think, than they did all last season, because we've had so much more snow and now freezing rain to add on top of it.
Let's take it out on the roads where 24-hour News 8's Amanda Jarrett is live in Grand Rapids. Amanda, what are the highways and the side roads looking like?
Well, I can tell you, Emily, things are definitely getting worse out here. I just saw a pickup truck going on this side road, going around the bend pretty smoothly. Then all of a sudden hit some more ice and went basically sideways all the way down the road, down to that yield sign. My photographer and I were a little tense watching this happen. Weren't really sure what was going to happen there. It looked like the truck could have slid into anything at any moment. And that's what you're going to face on these side roads Grand Rapids Police, dispatchers all across the West Michigan area working a lot of crashes on side roads this morning. Now I want to show you what it's going to look like on some of the highways. At least here downtown, traffic moving pretty good this morning considering how icy it is, and that's because the salt trucks have been concentrating all their efforts on these roads due to high traffic volume and the high speeds. You can see that one car going pretty slow across the exit ramp there, and that's because exit ramps are going to be a little tricky for you this morning as well. So just keep that in mind if you head out this morning. Side roads, driveways, your sidewalks, it's going to be a slow shuffle for you if you're walking to your car, and it can be very tricky for you. We see another car coming down the street right now, so we're going to be watching them as well. But again, those main roads, at least the highways, have some good salt on them this morning. Back to you.
All right, thank you, Amanda. We're going to be checking back in with her in about 15 minutes here to get another look at the roads before we end the show today. But we want to send things over to Kevin Richards right now for an area-wide look at the roads. What are you seeing, Kevin?
Two little pictures are slightly different. Kalamazoo, Battle Creek, Benton Harbor on the main roads, 94, 131. Just kind of a slippery, wet, murky morning, but you get north of the freezing line, and on a lot of the main roads, it's still sheet ice and very dangerous. Grand Rapids freeways, here's 131 at Hall Street. Now, there's plenty of traffic and plenty of salt and melter chemicals, and the freeway through lanes qualify as just wet here, and you can get going pretty fast, 60 miles an hour or so. But when you get off the freeway, that off-ramp may not have gotten as much salt as the freeway lanes, and you could end up sliding right through that stop sign. And a lot of the main streets and main roads around Grand Rapids, Muskegon, Holland, just skating rinks, lots of spinouts and ditchings all over West Michigan, and some of them include medical response. You want to give yourself lots of extra time, take it very slowly. For 24-hour News 8, Kevin Richards, News Radio, Wood 1300 and 106.9 FM.
Storm Team 8 will continue to track the weather changes today. Be sure to stay connected with us all day long and all weekend. You can download our mobile app to take with you on the go. Welcome back at 6:50 now. We've been showing you the icy conditions out on the roads all morning long. We talked to Amanda Jarrett about 20 minutes ago, and since then, the commute has really started to pick up. So, Amanda, what are you seeing out there right now?
Emily, I can tell you we're hearing a lot more crashes and slide-offs all across the area. I want to show you, coming up beside us here, are some people driving down these side roads. It is slow going, very icy. We've seen a couple cars going sideways on these side roads. But I can tell you, from our perspective, we are seeing several salt trucks out here on the highways in downtown Grand Rapids, especially focusing on the overpasses, which is a key place you want to keep that in mind this morning. But you can see here downtown, it's looking pretty good, but again, that's where the salt trucks are concentrating their efforts. Now, you heard from Jerry Byrne a little earlier on our newscast with the Kent County Road Commission. He says the main concern this morning is that these roads are going to refreeze. So even though they're treating these roads, we're still seeing this freezing rain. Dispatchers expecting it's going to get worse throughout the morning before it gets better. So keep that in mind as the traffic volume increases this morning. Dispatchers expecting this to get worse. So if you don't have to drive this morning, don't. Of course, we're going to keep an eye on this throughout the morning. Live in Grand Rapids, Amanda Jarrett, 24-hour News 8.